Morning, Johnny. How are you today?
Morning, how are you doing?
It's about what's the weather like there in Dublin?
Well, I've got farmer's tan from yesterday, unfortunately, so I'm locked down inside today, no matter how lovely it is outside. But right now, midweek here in Dublin is all good.
Oh, wonderful to hear there's some sunshine. The spring is coming through there. It's, as you can see, it's beautiful behind me here in my courtyard in the co-working in Zaragoza. We've taken this opportunity to reflect on our relationship, which has been over a few years, but been really important for both of us over the last year. Isn't that true?
Yeah, look, we've been catching up for so long. I don't know when we actually caught up, apart from it definitely being in TU Dublin. Thank you, Alex, for it probably in some way linking us up in the first place. The last year has been like it's been for support. As much as I think everyone's kind of got onto remote being a thing now, we obviously kind of clicked that a little earlier, but just because you're working in something early doesn't mean you know it all. And I think that's been one of the most fantastic things, having coffees like this, regularly enough and saying, hey, how can I help? That's been the fantastic side of last year. Kudos to you.
And thanks for that, Johnny. Thanks for the vice versa. Thanks for being there. Thanks for that support. It's wonderful to have that mentoring, that peer mentor that you can bounce ideas off, that you can ask questions to. And we wanted to take stock today quickly around the sort of 3 points. And the first one was, Johnny, around what we're actually all doing now. Is this true remote work?
I think we all know the answer to that, but just to make it clear for everyone in the room, no, it's not. This is the forced version. This is like being grounded after school or something, and you can get all your homework done, you can do everything, but it's not the way you'd prefer to do it. So look, we've been in survival mode, we've been in reactionary mode, and I think what's fantastic now, we're not there yet, but we're definitely moving beyond that reaction time from a company point of view and a human point of view, and getting to the point where you can plan. The way I'd sum that up is, if you remember me a year ago with my background in a slightly different space, now I'm in my lovely dark void or white void where I could possibly be a John Oliver impersonator if this whole remote thing doesn't work out. But in terms of making sure I can plan for that now, that's what's important for me, but it's what a lot of people are starting to hit. And that's the kind of trend line going into the new quarter. People are really trying to get ahead and say, look, this is how it's going to be for the now. But when we get to what real remote work is, where we have all that choice, which I'll let you talk about, that's what people are going for right now. And that's what people are really looking forward to, aside from the nice weather kicking in.
Exactly. And the fact that you're in your special setup home office, I'm here today in my co-working in Zaragoza, there's this misconception, misunderstanding that home working only is true remote work. And you said it yourself, prior to COVID, you could have chosen to go to a cafe, you might have gone to a library, you had real meetings with people. All of that went. You might have had a little mini commute in the morning going into a coffee shop, whatever. And the same for me when we were in full lockdown here in Spain. So it's not true remote working. Work from anywhere is often more accurate for remote working. But I want to pick up on what you said, because it's a nice segue into our next point, that we're learning to plan, that people have learned through the last year. We've all learned. And we've all come through. So what do you think would be, for me, one of the biggest learnings personally has been balance. And actually, just because it's a sunny morning here in Zaragoza, morning routine. I got to the gym, I got a walk, I had a nice breakfast with my family. But that seemed impossible in the full lockdown because it was so overwhelming. So that work-life balance or integration is my biggest learning. What's your biggest learning, Johnny, do you think, from the last year?
So balance is something I'm always working on or having to work on since I was a kid. So that's not new. I can't call that as new this year. But thinking about things from the other people's point of view, I think the biggest learning, maybe not learning, but the part that I've been really stressing on for the last year, be that with our own team, be that with customers, the commute and the school run are a key thing. And I think that up to 6 months ago, when no one really knew, and this was globally, not just one particular country or region, we weren't sure, look, are the kids in school this week or not? Am I homeschooling? And all these little bits and pieces. And when it comes to balance, I think for me, what I'll take from this is we had it built into us from day one, but now even as we're growing, making sure that even though there's no commute time globally, i.e. not everyone's actually having to commute, we still keep those commute times. I know this is really basic and really specific, but making sure that you don't have really important meetings externally at commute times, or should I say school run times, they will still exist either way. You've got to get someone setting up to be at a desk, whether they're getting onto the school bus or going to the new virtual version. So I think it's just really thinking about who you're working with and who you're on the other end of the line with, and cutting people slack. Although I think that goes both ways, but I'll be really clear on this one, and I'll be quick on this. Making sure that if you're going to be late for a meeting, that you send that note, not 2 minutes after the meeting was supposed to start and someone's already been waiting there for 2 or 3 minutes, but just being honest and saying, hey, something's going on in real life. I'll be on at 5 past. That's the kind of stuff, and that's the biggest learning I think we can all take from this forced work from home and bring that into the work from anywhere, in terms of here's some of the good that we can all take out of this. And that's my bias. Just being really honest and clear with people. That was there before, but I do think that it's taking the positive from this big negative point we've all just gone through. That's the key.
And you summed it up there really well, actually, Jonny, to feedback. You said it's always been there in remote working, that honesty, that proactive communications, but throw everyone into a pandemic where where like there's the extra stressors, the kids, the homeschooling, all those things. What you've touched on, building your awareness there, and I really like it, is that you were empathetic in your communications. You were starting to think, oh, what are the situations my clients, my team are in, and how can I meet them halfway, and being empathetic with that. But also, of course, how can I mirror that by sending the message to say I'm going to be late, and lead by example. So that's wonderful. And then it's interesting you said commute, because so many commutes have been cut down, because one of the things we've both got a passion about is, and then particularly in virtual spaces of service with meeting room, is how it's so much better for the planet when we are doing sessions like this, when we're not jumping on to onto planes, when we're not like commuting and affecting the planet, because the carbon emissions have been cut drastically by the last year, and we can see the evidence of that. So that's something something that you and I always talk about, isn't it? That positive impact on the planet. So to wind this up, we've got an interview that covers off some more information on that with Irish Tech News, with Ronan from Irish Tech News. So we'll share that in the comments here as well if people want to check it out. And thanks for taking the time for doing this recording today, Jonny. It's been amazing.
Yeah, no worries at all. And look, I think to sum up on our side, you hit the nail on the head in the environment point of view. Our personal working environment has changed, but that doesn't mean we can't all be ESG warriors, i.e. eco warriors. Make sure this actually does follow through, that we are thinking about our kids and their kids, what they're going to be living through. That's something that has now become something that's mainstream as a result of the last 2 years, and people sitting at home thinking about what could be better. So yeah, no, absolutely. I think we covered some of that in our interview with Ronan as well.
Exactly.
And that's definitely something that people want a bit of a wider view on what's going on. Awesome to see so many Irish on that list.
Wonderful. And we'll pop that into the comments.
Thanks
for taking the time today, and have a wonderful rest of the day, Jonny, and have a very happy Easter. But get that sun cream on you.
Absolutely.
Cheers.